In the topic that we are going to discuss, we will be telling you about some additional studio settings. I have already explained some of those settings in the previous sections. With these settings, you can further enhance your CRM. In that, the first thing is check in, check out. We have already seen in detail how check in, check out works in section 3.1. After this slide, I will give you a demo of how to set up its admin panel. You can enable check in, check out on any module where you want to check in, check out. Second functionality is recent view. As such, there is no setting available for recent view in the studio, but you can enable or disable the recent view for the list of functionalities for a given module. So how to do this? We will see that demo as well. Recent view basically gives you an idea. You get an option on the dashboard where you can get a list of the last 10 record entries which you checked or worked on using your own login in the CRM. From which modules should these entries be picked? We will look at that setting. The third setup is that of a scoreboard card. You can enable the scorecard for any module. To enable the scorecard, you need to enable certain functionality from the studio. You have to configure the scorecard. So we will be seeing how can we do this. Next is print format. Here you can extract a print format on any module. It is similar to quotation, but a very detailed draft of quotation is required. In that, we incorporate many things like line item details of the product, its quotation configuration, its terms and conditions. Print format is not that complicated. These are the kind of formats which are generally used. For example, on the ticket module, if you have to create and send a report to your customer, then you use the print format for that service report. Other than that, next setting we have is Synapse call pop-up. Whenever you integrate CRM with Synapse, how can you customize the CRM pop-up you get on the screen whenever there is an incoming call or an outgoing call? There is one setting for it which is also configurable. We will also look at that setting as well. It works with NJ Synapse for any other telephony as well. And it requires no additional setup. It can run with any other Synapse solution or with other telephonic solutions as you make Synapse call profitable for Synapse. Next, we have is untouched syncs. We have already covered this in our last section. I told you that when any record is created or last updated, how can we consider it untouched since or how old over there? So this we have already covered. This is useful for aging analysis. Next we have is duplicate check. Again, we have seen in detail how duplicate check works in section 3.1. If we have to prevent it, then how can we do that? There is only one additional setting for you to enable this. It is in the module features at studio level. I will show you that setting. Other than that, we have covered this entirely in 3.1. Next we have is geofencing. Geofencing is used for check-in, check-out. Here I can fence in how much radius I want to allow the check-in, check-out. We will watch videos related to this in section 4. So you can refer to those chapters for details on this. Next is recurring activity. If you want to schedule one kind of activity multiple times in CRM, then you can do that. Like I have to automatically create a task every Friday in CRM, which I need to perform. I don't have to add that task every Friday. For that, what we can do is, I will create a recurring activity for it. I will auto-create that task through recurring activity from CRM. We will see recurring activity in detail in the coming demo. Next is approval management. There is a separate process for approval management. Let's say that if you have a quotation of a specific amount, then approval is required for it. If someone is opting for leave, then to approve that leave, an approval process is required. Or you have a big opportunity which is getting lost, before making it as lost, approval is required. So how can you implement these concepts of approval? For that, we will see the configuration of approval management. Next is OTP authentication, where if we want to keep a restriction like if any user closes a ticket, for example, I have considered a ticket module, similarly, you can do this on any other module. I want that. A user cannot close a ticket on their own until and unless they have customer information in terms of OTP, just like most of the delivery agents have it these days. So the ticket cannot be closed without OTP. If you have to do a configuration of that kind, you can use OTP authentication. We will see how to configure that. SMS integration is required for OTP authentication. If your CRM does not have SMS integration, you cannot use OTP authentication. So it is a must. First, you will have to do the SMS integration. Next is Flex Relate. Flex Relate means whatever activities you perform in CRM, how can you link those activities with any module in your CRM, or from which modules can you perform those activities? So, for that relationship or the way they are managed, a flex relate type of field is used so that I don't have to create individual relationships for each module. Flex relate is used for that purpose. We have covered flex relate in great detail in section 3.1. You can refer to that. Next is formula. We support two types of formulas in CRM, simple and advanced. There are multiple different formulas which are pre configured. Like if I have to find the difference between two dates, if I have to sum up 2 days, if I have to convert all of these things, can be done through formula. So, how does the formula work? There is a whole different chapter for that of formulas and dependencies. We will see the details there. Next is dependency. Dependencies means on the basis of an input, if there is any specific input being set on it, only then the other dependent field should open. For example, lost reason should be enabled only if you mark the status of a lead as dead. This is a kind of dependency. We will see how we can apply this dependency. In the same way, if you have to hide or show any field, or you have to set a specific value of a field, then you can use dependencies. There is another example here. Here I have mentioned the lead source as a partner. I can display another field on that basis to mention who the partner is. I can give them selection option of the partner. So that is also a kind of dependency in CRM. Next is sub-panel and pop-up filters. We have seen sub-panel and pop-up filters in great detail in section 3.1. You can refer to that to know how sub-panel and pop-up filters work. Some of the examples are given here. Companies selected. When I select a contact related to this opportunity, I want only that list of contacts to appear which are related to that account. That's my subpanel pop-up filter because the account is already linked with the opportunity, with that opportunity. Now I just have to link the contacts with that specific account. So subpanel filters are used for this. In the same way, when I go to product selection in the contact module and access the contact that are available in my account, if I want list of only those products that are sold to that account through product selection, then that can be managed through sub-panel and pop-up filter. Again, we have covered this in great detail in 3.1. If you want to refer to how it works, please go back and see chapter 3.1. Next, we have is checkout mapping. Already we have covered checkout mapping in detail in section 3.1. When you check out, if you want to enable a field while you are there, then how can you do that? You can refer to how you can use checkout mapping. We had also looked at its example at that time. Similarly, if you have to enable any other field in that way, let's say you're performing check in, checkout on a lead, you want to update the status of that lead at the time of checkout, then you can map the status of the lead module field. In the same way, you can do the renewal for the ticket module as well. If I check out the ticket, then I can update the status of that ticket or update any other field. So, these are mentioned in the checkout mapping. Next is handling duplicates. There is a separate option given to handle duplicates in CRM. We have seen in detail everything related to duplicates in section 3.1. How to identify duplicates, how to prevent them, how to enable duplicates on any field, etc. So, how to handle those duplicates? We have already seen that. For this also, if you want to go through that topic again, You can see it in detail in section 3.1.